Welcome to the channel. As you can see, we're sat in front of my T4 camper. I've got a couple of jobs to do on this today. A few maintenance jobs. It's due fixing MOT in a couple of weeks, and there's a couple of niggly things that need fixing. One of them is the oil pressure sensor. It keeps randomly firing off, making me panic. So I've got a new one to fit to make sure that that is the problem, which I think it is, because it's an intermittent fault. We'll do an oil change on the safe side, which hopefully may solve some of the smoking. Last it's oil changed about 2 years ago, but it's only done about 6,000 miles in that time, so it's about due an oil change. I've got a rattle on one of the heat shields or the exhaust. I think I know what the problem is, but we're going to fix that as well. And I was going to change the water temperature sensor. I bought one, but it turns out I bought the wrong one by the looks of it. So I had a fault on that. It's not showing the temperature in the cab, although the fans do work, so I know the engine's never going to overheat. It's just an annoyance. So I might have a look around the wiring because it stopped working when I had to do some work on the front of the engine when I had to get the injectors out. I think the connector blocks haven't gone back together, so I might pull the front out to service mode and have a play around with the connectors whilst it's on the ramps. So that's it. So the first job is going to be, I think what we're going to do is do the exhaust first. That way there's not oil all over the floor when I'm scraping into the back of the van. So let me show you what the fault is first. Okay, just give you an idea where we are. So we've got fuel tank, that's the front. This is the heat shield that goes around the exhaust. It goes through to the back, and you can see the heat shield has just pulled through, so this thing's rattling away when it starts up. Once it warms up and the whole car starts shuddering, it stops. But so I've got some metal offcuts, so I've got a bit of metal which will just spread that load in there, so hopefully I'll hold it in there for a few more years. So I'm going to get on with doing that first. Okay, quick video of say just fitted that spreader plate so that to hold the heat shield nice and secure, so no more rattling around. So that's a quick job. I tried to film it, but there's just too much stuff in the way. So there you go, done. Quick fix. That's a pain in the ass. I set a camera shot up and it stopped recording as soon as I took the plug out. So anyway, all cleared off. I'll put a plug back in that in a minute, and I'll move over and remove the oil filter, and then the sensor I am changing is just there. That should hopefully be a quick fix. Yeah, you can see my makeshift funnel. So we're going to put some oil in it, and then we'll sort out the old oil and get rid of that into effectively one of these. Okay. So that's the sensor. I've not got a deep 22mm socket, which is needed. I've got actually the new one's going to go in there. So I just need to get this thing out using an adjustable. Okay, so I've had a problem nipping up the new sensor. It keeps going loose. I looked at the old sensor, and that would be screw these off. The threads from the oil housing, oil filter housing. So I've just run it I can't nip it up tight enough, so it looks like we're going to need a new oil filter housing, which means I need to do a run around and see if we can get one locally. If not, it's off the road for a week. So this is now off the road for a week, probably. I need to try and find turns out it's the oil filter housing bracket that has the sensor sat in it. So I've been trying to find one. Can't see one in Eurocar parts. Can't get up to GSF. So a week on, from finding out that the screw thread had been stripped, so the bolt thread had been stripped. I did get a part. I've got this arrived from eBay. The only one on there wasn't the cheapest thing, but it'll do the job. So this needs fitting. I also got a new gasket. It goes onto the bulkhead of the block, the engine block. So we'll fit one of those while we're at it. Hopefully, changes should be relatively straightforward. The engine that's in my camper is relatively new. It was a complete rebuild about 4 years ago, so this should come off relatively easily. The only way I've got is I've just filled it with oil. So I'm hoping that the oil filter housing is high enough that most of the oil stays in the sump. I'd have to drain all the oil off and redo it all again. But it looks relatively straightforward. I'll go through it underneath it, but this sort of hangs down off the engine block being here. Oil housing fits onto this. It gets fixed on with this 27mm bolt, which is quite thin. The pressure sensor goes in the top there, and then there's the high pressure oil feed which goes onto that. So I think what I'm going to do, this thing's absolutely filthy. I think I'm going to give it a damn good clean, get all these edges cleaned off, get all this cleaned off in parts washer for now, and then we'll give it a rub down, so it goes on a bit easier. So we'll go to a parts washer, which thankfully I got for Christmas. So we're going to give it an actual go, something we actually needs working on. So let's get this. On top of that, this is absolutely caked in oil as well, so and grime. So I'm going to clean as we go. So let's get set up over the parts washer. We'll do a bit of washing on that, and then I've already put some WD-40 on the bolt heads to make it a bit easier to get the thing out. And then hopefully it's going to be a change of swapping them over. I'm not looking forward to this. It's going to be a very, very messy job because obviously there's oil running through the whole thing. So I've got some cardboard for the drive to try and save the driveway. But right, first job, let's get this cleaned. Okay, not happy. Got these two loose. That's not a problem at all. Top one is rounded, and I don't want to do too much damage to it. I think we'll have to get a mobile mechanic out, come and take a look at this and swap it out for me, and we'll have a better idea of how to get that bolt out without doing too much more damage to it. So, leaving it there, not exactly happy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare. Hold on a minute. This wire's split off the sensor for it. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to leave this as it is and say get a mechanic out to finish this job off. No, you can't win them all. Okay, so that's the plug fixed. It's a bit of a rough repair. There wasn't a lot of wire to play with, and I'm upside down using a soldering iron, so it will do the job. If I have to repair it again, I'll have to repair it again. But that's all we can get over to done today. So not a successful day. Bit pissed off, being honest with you. I'll have to get a mechanic out, mobile mechanic to come and get that Allen key heavy bolt out. I don't want to do any more damage to it, so I'll try and help them do that, and then they can swap over the bracket and get it all sorted. It's back on the road now. So I'll leave it in. It's in service mode at the moment, so I'll just push the radiator back in, and we'll leave it at that until I can get someone out to finish off this job, which is went from a quick and easy, oh, just take the sensor out and put a sensor in, to screw threads being stripped off by the person who fitted it before me, and those bolts are in so tight, so tight. I have to get someone out to help me with that. I don't do any more damage. So that's where we are this week with the T4. Hopefully back on the road next week. All right. go find something else to play with in the shed.